Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Black Mental Wellness Lounge. I'm your host, Brandon Johnson, and I'm so excited to have you all back and to keep these conversations going. And so today, I have a special guest. I'm really excited about this episode. There's a show on Lifetime called Married at First Sight, where people apply to be on, and experts have people get set up to be married, and they never see the person until they walk to the altar, and we get to follow their journey. And so this is one of my wife and I's favorite show. And so one of the cast members this season was talking about mental health and talking about social justice and a lot of the stuff that we talk about um, here in the lounge. And so today I have the opportunity to speak with him and have him chat about Black men's mental health today. And so I'm excited to bring on Miles Williams. It's so great to have you here. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you're on. And so, everybody may not watch the show, everybody may not know you. So just take a minute to just introduce the Black Mental Wellness Lounge to Miles.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me, Brandon. I enjoyed being able to talk to you and your wife like about a week or so ago
Yeah.
on hop on the call, and we had a great conversation. I was like, and you like, kind of proposed like, oh, would you want to? I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to be a part of the Black Mental Wellness Lounge,
Appreciate
and
that.
thanks for having me. But yeah, so Miles Williams, a social justice advocate, educator, coach, former student athlete, but most notably, I married my wife on Married at First Sight. We met at the altar, and both of us realized that something might not be all the way right with us for making the decision we made to get married to strangers. But we saw the whole process out, the quarantine and everything, and are happily married, and excited to be able to share our lives with you all.
No, that's great. It was so great watching that journey and to see you all, grow and to do that together and like show that black love on TV was really dope.
Yeah,
And
I
so
appreciate
a big piece of what you talked about on the show was mental health. Like you
it.
talked about your own things and your own struggles, and oftentimes, especially for us black males, it's difficult for us to do that. So what made you want to share that with the viewers?
Yeah, I think one of the things that going into the process from the beginning, I wanted to make sure that I was always being true to who I am, and I felt that as a part of that, or a large part of that, was being open about my mental health struggles, because in the Black community, as you know, we it's kind of taboo to be able to talk about mental health, and especially Black men, right? Because we're supposed to be seen as strong, we're supposed to be seen as not as emotional, and as I was going through my mental health, early in my mental health journey, I was like, I felt ashamed. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't feel like it was a thing that I wanted to even claim or be a part of who I am. And realized is like, you know what? If I had someone who was open about mental health and or people around me that were really open about their mental health journey, I would have felt more comfortable and more safe. And so I was like, you know what? If I have this platform, I want to be able to use it positively. And if someone sees something or sees themselves in me, even if it's just the smallest things, like just looking at, we look similarly. If they're able to hear from me, hey, you know what? I battle this daily, and I'm still able to have joy. I'm still able to um, love my family. I'm still able to be macho and play football and have tattoos and whatever the manly things that people see, but also able to be vulnerable and sensitive. I think that's really important for young men to see, but also for women to see that there are men out here who do feel this way and are thinking this way, and hopefully give some people some hope.
Absolutely. And I think, for a lot of people, people felt seen when they watched
Mhm.
you, up there. I remember when you first said it, you watching a show and you kind of like, you watching it, but you kind of look on your phone doing other stuff. And then when you said that part, I was like, wait, I put everything down, like, hold up. So that, it was powerful for you to do that.
Yeah.
So yes, I appreciate you
No,
for
no, I
doing
appreciate that. I think it was really big to be able to see, like, once the show aired, how many people that it felt like felt seen and didn't feel alone, and especially Black men. It's been really cool to hear Black men reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, like, thanks for speaking up. I struggle with depression. I struggle with anxiety, and you made me feel like it's okay to be able to talk about. And if I was able to do that for just one person, I felt like I did my job, and it's great to be able to see how it's impacted people.
That's dope. That's dope. Another part of that, and another thing that we got to see during your time on the show was really your relationships and your ability to have these relationships. Your relationship, obviously, with Karen. We got to see your relationship with your family, with your
Yeah,
mom and your dad, and also with Woody. To have your best friend on the show, and so we got to
yeah,
see these really authentic and like supportive relationships. And so I know there are probably some viewers who are friends with, married to, connected
mhm,
with, work with, other Black men, and they want to be supportive of them in their mental health journey. They want to, find ways to help, but they may not know how to do that, right?
yeah,
So, what tips or advice would you give to people who want to support the Black men in their lives with their mental health, but don't kind of know, where to start?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think first uh, you brought up was my support system, my family, my friends, my wife. So I probably say it once a week to Karen. It's like I'm so blessed to have the people in my life that are in my life. Whether I've known them for a year or so or to childhood. I mean, I'm blessed with great people who are caring and empathetic and supportive and protective of me. Um, going through the season, I realized like how many people are supportive and protective of me, and they don't even know me. And I'm so grateful for that. And I think that one of the things that my family did a really job of early on was allowing me to be fully me, regardless of what that is. Um, and just giving me and creating space for me to feel like I can be vulnerable. Um, and so I think that's one of the things I'll give as advice to somebody is just create space that allows people to know that you see them, that you hear them, especially Black men, and that hey, if you want to ever talk to me, if you ever need anything, feel free to come to me. I think that's the first step. I think another step is just actively listening. I think that that's a big thing that I really appreciate about the people that I'm closest to is that they do a really good job of listening to me and making me feel heard. And so, because I think a lot of people, you tell them things, you say, "Hey, I'm struggling with X, Y, or Z," and the first thing they want to do is give you advice. Um, and I've had to create boundaries in my life, but people have also done that for me and saying, "Hey, I don't need you to say anything right now. I just need you to listen. I just need to be heard." And so I think making sure that you do a really good job of listening, not listening to respond, but listening to be able to just hear and engage and sit with it. Um, and that's not easy. It's not easy at all. I know I'm not perfect at it, but I think that's a really big piece in being able to support folks who are struggling with mental illness or mental health or anything. Um, and I think last but not least, I think one of the things that was struggle for me early on was uh, when I said that I was struggling with mental health a little bit. People were like, "Just go to therapy, or pray it away.
Mhm.
Go to therapy, pray." And like, I feel like it kind of, I didn't. I was like, "Oh, I'm kind of ashamed. I don't want to do this." And so it ended up getting to a point where I had to think like, "Okay, I'm on this journey. It's not. There's no necessary end in sight." And realizing that I will do things the way I need to on my own time. And so, as someone who's a supporter of someone who's struggling with mental health issues, I think it's integral that or imperative that you allow them to figure out what they need on their own time, but then being there and ready when they realize it's their time. Um, I feel like I said a lot, but those are some of my most immediate thoughts about how you can support Black men.
No, that's awesome, and it's I think it's natural. People want to be like, okay, you have an issue. Let me figure out how to fix it,
Fix it.
right?
Help me fix it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and
So,
that's something I had to learn. Talking about being married, I had to learn of especially with us. Sometimes we can be like, "Oh, this is the problem." One
mhm,
plus two equals three. Don't do
mhm.
that or change this. It's not that simple, and so
No,
I think that's awesome advice.
it never is. And I think another thing about that too is like there's nothing wrong with wanting to fix, but realizing that rarely, if ever, will like a response fix anything. Like saying something
Right,
in the moment fix it, right? I've had to practice saying like, "Oh, you know what? Thank you for telling me that. Like, thank you for sharing that with me." Or I don't know what to do or say for you right now, but at the end of the day, like know that we can figure this out together. And I think being
right.
able to have those moments and conversations, I think a lot of people feel like they want to be able to do something but don't know how to do it. And really, all you got to do is just sit there and know that, let them know that they're not by themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you're right. It doesn't fix in that moment. So just being able to, it probably take a lot for that person to even bring it up.
Hmm.
So you know, to let them get that space is major.
For sure.
So the other thing you mentioned this in your intro, but you talked about your passion for social justice.
Hmm.
This is something that we talk about a lot on the lounge. We cover it in different videos about even people who are activists and out there on the front lines. Like, how do you take care of yourselves?
Yeah.
And so you all had the experience of going through what was happening in this country around Breonna Taylor
Yeah.
and George Floyd, like during the show.
Hmm.
You talked about that openly. And so being, as a part of wanting social justice and fighting against these injustices and helping people navigate it, it can be heavy.
Yeah.
It can be heavy. It can be really weighty. So how do you take care of yourself? Like as you see these things continue to happen, they've been happening, since, and we still continue to fight and battle against these things. How do you take care and manage your own mental health as you're dealing with these things?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Will strongly admit that better at it sometimes than others.
Mhm.
Right now, I feel like I could be doing a better job taking care of myself in that regard. I think one of the big things, especially when I think about police brutality, especially if I know if somehow I know that something happened that's like going to be in the news, I try to stay away from social media as much as possible. I don't like seeing those triggering images. That really bothers me. Um, but I do like to be able to read articles and be able to have understanding and knowledge of what happened, what took place, and then do whatever I need to do to take care of myself. I like daily. I go through kind of like a mental health checklist. So I'll start my day, um, and just go like mind, body, soul, and kind of think about okay, where's my mind at right now? How's my body feeling? Um, Thinking about like just like my spirit, what's going on with me? How joyful do I feel right now? And as I'm doing that, I think I learned as a student athlete, that like really like aware of the body. So I kind of try to do that as a mean kind of ground myself and center myself throughout the day. And so I really just try to feed those two things. And between that, doing that for myself, and then my community, surrounding myself with the right people, um, typically like I I feel like I get to a really good place where I'm able to be like, okay, cool, like this terrible thing happened, you're acknowledging how you're feeling about it, and then now what can you do to act? What can we do to move? Because I feel like I feel best when I'm actively doing something, um, but realize that grief or like mourning or being upset is part of that process, and so getting to it and then figuring out, okay, cool, what can I do? Whether that's going to work every day, I work with young people, so
Mhm.
working with kids and figuring out what I can do to best support them and feel like I'm doing something directly to make an impact with them, whether it's reading something, posting something on social media. Um, I
Mhm.
think those type of things like really help me. And then I have a wonderful wife who's so supportive. And you all saw that on the season when I was really struggling with going on the retreat
Mhm.
after the death of I think it was George Floyd at that time. Well, both of them. It was like back to back, and just knowing that I have somebody that I can lean on and be like, hey, this is really getting to me, and be able to see me as a black man and be able to know like or maybe relate to the experience that I'm experiencing. And I think that I was blessed to be able to have someone that I can turn to every day.
Yeah, that's major, and it continues to happen every day. It's like a new city, a new place
Mm-hmm.
that's being impacted. Here in Baltimore, we have Freddie Gray.
Mm-hmm.
We had those things happen, and so that mind, body, soul thing is really dope. I'm definitely gonna have to
Yeah,
apply
yeah.
that.
I want to be able to, or at some point soon, I'll be able to like kind of codify the way I kind of go through my day, and so I can share that with folks. But really, like I think being an athlete, like I was always thinking, like, okay, you know, what, my leg's a little tight here. Okay, I need to do this
Mhm.
to be able to fix that or whatever. And then realize, like it's the same thing with your mind and your spirit,
Right.
and being able to kind of like center myself and ground myself throughout the day and just check in and have that. Because really, I think for me, it's more of just having that awareness and just knowing, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. I might be at 60% right now. Okay, I'm gonna give everyone the best 60% that I have, and this is how I can do that and protect myself, but also be able to do what needs to be done.
Absolutely. Knowing yourself is so key, and I try to
Yeah.
share that with the kids I work with at the church that I go to. Like
Yeah.
knowing yourself and self awareness is major.
Huge, huge, huge.
Absolutely. So last question. Um, so there may be, other black men that are, looking at this today, watching this video, who may be like, I'm seeing some stuff like I want to, have a better handle of my mental health. I want to,
Mhm.
be on top of things. I want to get started on this journey, but I don't know how to start. Like I don't know where to go with it. Like what should I be doing? And
Mm.
so, from you, just wanted to know like what advice would you give to them as they're, thinking about going on this mental health journey, but not quite sure how to get it started.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, I think we're all experts on ourselves. Like we know ourselves better than anybody else does, right? And so if you feel off, if you don't feel like uh, as driven or feel different from what you normally are, and feel like you need to talk to somebody, I feel like I'm a strong proponent of therapy. I wasn't at first. I was always like, how can someone else tell me what to do, or how can someone else tell me about myself better, or what if they're going to judge me, or what have you. But I believe having a therapist, having someone that's like completely impartial, someone that you can talk to at any time, or not any time, but talk to, know that you're going to this space and able to get everything out, and then go back into the world and do what you got to do, grind, whatever. But know that you can come back to that space at least once a week, or once every other week, or maybe once a month, whatever works for you. Knowing that you have that space where you can block out all the other stuff in the world that's trying to like get onto you. I think that's integral. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody yet, like professionally talking to somebody, if there's some people in your corner, people that you're tight with, that you know that you can be just like say, hey, I don't even like need a response from you right now, but I just need you to tell me, like, let me tell you what's on my heart. Um, I think do that. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to a person, if you feel comfortable writing things down, or writing in your notes in your phone, or voice recording it, just so you can get all of it out. I think that's important. And I think that I want you to know you're not alone, that there's hundreds of thousands of Black men around the country who are struggling a mental illness. And it doesn't mean that it's that you're less of a man or that you're weak. But honestly, it's the opposite. In my opinion, it means that you're strong and that you're able, aware, and that you're able to say, "Hey, I'm not my best self all the time, and that's okay." And because of
Right.
that, I'm gonna take these steps to be able to be the best man I can be for myself and for others. And um, also, just reach out to me if you need to, with some tips and advice. I'll share my Instagram, my contact information, so people feel like they can always have a space to go to.
Man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your thoughts and what you did on Married at First Sight. It may have seemed small in that moment, but like you're saying, you're seeing the impact of even just being open and vulnerable, meant to so many people. And so I do want to toss it to you, just let people know how they can get in touch with you.
Cool, cool. Well, like I said, Miles Williams, Married at First Sight, season 11. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to communicate with me. My Instagram's at the Miles Will. Feel free to reach out anytime. I can't promise that I'm gonna be able to respond with the most with most swiftness, but always down to do that. And another way that you can do that is hop on the call. Hoponthecall.com. You'll click on book an appointment with me, and you can reserve 10 or 20 minutes or more to be able to just sit down and have conversations. That's how Brandon and I started talking and communicating. And now I can message you anytime and check in, and we're able to set this up. So feel free to reach out to me there. We can set up some time to be able to have some discussions that matter. And I'm not a therapist, but I am a lending ear, and I think I have a little bit of wisdom in my young 27 years, and would love to be able to share what I have with you all.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. And yeah, hop on the call is how we got connected, and we even got to say hi to Karen at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah,
So
yeah. She loved that. She loved that. That was
that was
special.
cool. That was cool. Well, thank you so much. Please say hi to Karen on behalf of the lounge. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your work. So I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Stay strong. Keep doing the work that you're doing. It's important work.
Appreciate that.